Hello, welcome back to Cracking the Cryptic, and we also welcome back Demono today. Demono created the very popular Sudoku hunt that we featured on Patreon called the Jewels of Osiris, and is still underway, I think, in creating the Tidings of Minos, and you can find his Kickstarter if you put in Demono Kickstarter and get on board. So that is a story. It's potentially featuring characters called Simon and Mark. I don't know for sure, to be honest, but I think that was the plan at one point. Now, Demono sent us a new puzzle, which I'm very pleased to be having the opportunity to try. But first of all, our current patron rule is absolutely excellent. It's by Blobs, and it's called Nurikabe Puzzle Pack. It does what it says on the tin and provides 10 themed Nurikabe puzzles. It actually provides 12 in the pack. 2 of them are not necessary to enter for the prize by the 20th, but do check it out. It's great fun. That's on Patreon. We've also, of course, got all of our apps on links under the video, which do feature Sandwich Sudoku, a feature of today's puzzle, but of course also the latest Fog of War Sudoku, very popular. Pack now, what else? Oh, yes, I'll tell you what else. SVEN'S SUDOKU PAD and merchandise, including, thanks so much to Amber Pitcher, who has created this Year of the Secret design. So if you've been following the channel, you know why 2025 is the year of the secret squared. If you know, you know, as the shirt says. So that is our newest item of merchandise. As I say, thanks so much to Amber for helping us do that. Unfortunately, it requires me to do a certain number of things, and it takes me ages to work out how to do them properly, but that shirt is now available. So if you go to the store tab underneath or the merchandise link, you will be able to find basically that shirt in one style with a dark background or with a light background, and it's even on a mug in case you want that design on a mug to commemorate your patronage of this channel this year, 2025. I may mention the secret later in the video. I think there's a good chance in this puzzle. Now, let's do the puzzle rules next. We've got normal Sudoku rules apply. We're putting 1 to 9 in every row, every column, and every 3 by 3 box. There are clues outside the grid. That is true. Each side of the grid either contains all sandwich clues or all X-sum clues. Which side contains which type of clue is to be determined by the solver. And in a sandwich clue, you consider the grid. Let me just write in random numbers down here. That is a possible fill for a Sudoku column. Now, in this column, looked at from the top, the sandwich would be the sum of the digits between the 1 and the 9 in the column. So that would be 8 plus 7 equals 15, would have to be the sandwich clue on either side of this column. Now the X-sum clue would be the sum of the first X digits, where X is the first digit. So from the top, that would say 3 digits. You'd add up those 3 digits, and the X-sum clue at the top would be 12. The X-sum clue at the bottom would be 2 digits, so it would be 11. That is how sandwiches and X-sums work. So each side is either all sandwiches or all X-sums. We have to work out which. I'm looking forward to the challenge. Give it a try on that first link. You can check the video length to see how difficult it is. I haven't got a clue at the moment, but I'm going to restart now and say, let's get cracking. So, what have we got going on? We've got zeros at the top. Well, they can't be X-sum clues because X is always a digit. So these are all sandwich clues. And that means for 6 of the columns, 1 and 9 are next to each other, which is strange. It also means this 23 clue is a sandwich clue. And that has to include at least 4 digits, because the only digits you can include in the sandwich don't include 9. 876 is 3. 876 is 3 digits, adding up to 21. You must need a 4th. And therefore I can tell that the sandwich will include the central cell of that column. I wish I could tell you more from the analysis, from knowing that the top clues are all sandwich clues, but I can't. Okay, something I can tell you about the row clues is that they are not both sandwich sets, because the numbers would have to be the same on both ends, and they're clearly not in rows 2, 4 and 8. Now, how do I know what they are? So one of these sets is an X-sums set. That might lead to these digits all having to be the same. So what are the possible X's in a row that adds up to 22? If you started with a 3, you wouldn't get enough, because 3 plus 8 plus 9 is only 20. So you would have to start with at least a 4. So this would be 4, 5, 6, or could it be 7? I think the answer is no. I'm considering if the left-hand side was X-sums clues. So if it was 7, those would add up to 22. Now, here's where I share the secret that the sum of every row, just like every column and every box in Sudoku, is the sum of the digits 1 to 9. So it's always 45. So if those added up to 22, those two would add up to 23. Well, that's too many for 2 cells. And in fact, none of these can be a 7, because even in the 25 row, those would add up to 20. So these must all be from 3, 4, 5, and 6. Now I'm throwing 3 into the mix because the 19 could be a 3 in theory. 3 plus 9 and 7 is 19. These others couldn't actually be 3s if they were X-sums. Now, you will see that this pattern is impossible because we've got 5 cells to populate from 4 digits, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Therefore, they are not X-sums. These are sandwich clues looking across the row. And I can put green in all of these cells again because the central, for a 22 sum, anything above 21, as we just worked out for this column, anything above 21 requires 4 cells of sandwich, and that must always include the middle cell. Whether you start from there or anywhere else, it must always include the middle cell. So once the sandwich clue is above 21, we can colour the middle cell as green, which means not a 1 or a 9. And that's quite interesting for the 23 clue. I may be done now. Now, these on the other side, if these are sandwich clues, these can't be sandwich clues. So down the right-hand side, we've got X-sum clues. Now, a 15 is a 3, 4, or 5, I reckon, as the number of digits you're going to have to add up to get 15. If it was a 3, those 2 would add up to 12, with the 3 would give 15. If it was a 4, those 3 would be 11. If it was a 5, this whole set would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Maybe there's a way of working out that 22 doesn't work as a sandwich, but I doubt it actually. I'm not going to try that. Right, for a 24 sum, we can't begin with 3, we can only get to 20 there. So 4, 5, 6. Again, it can't be 7 because those 2 digits would have to add up to the remainder from 45, which is 21. Now, for a 21 row, we can't begin with 3 and we can't get to 7. So 4, 5, 6 again. Greater than 0, that is not a helpful clue because every X-sum is greater than 0. 12, we can't start with a 2 because that would have to be with a 10. So it's 3, 4, or 5. Is it 5? No, it can't be 5. It's 3 or 4. 5 would minimally add up to 15. So that is a 3, 4, 5, 6 sum. Now, what does that mean? That means that one of these two is a 3. Sorry, it's not a 3, 4, 5, 6 sum. It's a 3, 4, 5, 6 quad. Oh, and we've got to fit a 1 and a 9 in this column next to each other. Well, that digit has to be one of them. And one of these is the other red digit. So all of the rest of these go green because if you put 1 or 9 there, it couldn't be next to another 1 or 9. And the same is true here. Now, that is a 1 or 9. I'm going to colour this cell green because in this column, again, the 1 and the 9 have to be next to each other, and if one of them was there, the other one would have to be on the other side of it, and that would be 3 red cells in a box, which is not possible. I suppose the same is true for this cell, because this column also has a 0 sandwich clue at the top. So we've got sandwich clues at the top and the left, X-sum clues on the right. Down here, I don't know yet. 32 is quite restricted as a sandwich clue. It would require an outie, a digit outside the sum of 3, and then 1 or 9 just inside that. 1 and 9. And 10 would be quite restricted as an X sum clue. It would have to begin with 2, 3, or 4. Greater than 0 seems... oh, no, okay, greater than 0 is helpful because obviously it means it's not the same as the 0 at the top. So therefore this is not a sandwich sum in this column, and these are X sum clues at the bottom. So the clues on the right and the bottom are X sum clues, and the clues above and to the left are sandwich clues. This one now is therefore 2, 3, or 4. This one, we're going to have to add at least 5 digits to get to 32. And we can't add 8 because then one cell would have to equal 13. So that's 5, 6, or 7. And these obviously are green. They are not red cells because of the numbers in them. Okay, now, the sandwich here is 24, and we know where one of the crusts, as we call them. We know that it's really the slices of bread in a sandwich, but we call them crusts. So at least 3 cells, at least 4 cells must add up to that 24 sandwich. So that's those 4. Now what's the maximum? Right, the maximum sandwich is achieved by deducting 1 and 9, the crust values, from 45, the row value. And that means 45 minus 10 is 35 is the maximum sandwich. So if you have a row of 24, the outies add up to 11. And they're selected from the digits between 2 and 8. So there must be at least 2. There might be a third. But those go green. Now, in this row, we've got a sandwich sum of 22. And we've got at least 4 cells in that sandwich. So this one is going green now, because even counting them minimally from the right, they're there. Same is true in row 2. Same is true in row 8. Now, I was looking at this earlier. The 23 column, that's a sandwich clue. That is going to require that the crusts are either there and there, given the available cells, or there and there. And the outies will add up to 12, and there'll be either a 5, 7 or an 8, 4 pair. But I don't think I can go much further at the moment. So that could be a crust. And then the 19 sum, the 19 sandwich here, how many cells would that be? You're only allowed to select from 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It can't be 5 cells because the minimum there is 20, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But it must be at least 3. So that would put the other crust in this row. If that was a crust, the other crust would have to be in one of those 2 cells. It can't be there. Oh no, it could. I was going to say one of these 2 must be a crust in this column, but that doesn't mean there's not a second one. So I should not opine on that possibility. Right. 32, I was about to say 32 can't be a sandwich clue. That's so obvious. Now I see the 0 sandwich clue at the top. Anyway, 32 is an X sum clue. I don't think I can do much more with that. I'm going to have to achieve something else. Is it these X sums from the right? Maybe the fact that one of these is a 6. Now, if that was a 6, these digits would have to be 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 to make 21. These would be 7, 8, 9. Now, how would we achieve the sandwich of 22? We could use... What would the outies add up to in the row? 13. Well, that could be an 8 here and a 5 here, or 7 here and 6 here. There are various combinations. Oh, I was thinking, however, about this being a 6, wasn't I, for this sandwich clue. 22 sandwich. Well, it very likely puts a crust into one of those cells. The only way it doesn't is if 1 and 9 are here. These add up to 22. These would add up to 13 then. So how would that work for the x sum if these added up to 13? That would be part of the clue. This would be 1 or 9 in this case, where this is a 1 or 9. So it couldn't be 9, or that would bust. It's like pontoon or blackjack. That would bust the 21 total by making it 22. So that would have to be a 1. We'd be up to 14. And then we'd have to have 8 in 1 or, no, 7 in 1 or 2 cells. But the outies would have to add to 13, and that would be a 6. Oh, it does work. 6, 2, 5 perhaps, 1, 4, 3, 7, 8, 9. Oh, it's quite difficult to keep all that in your head, but I can see that it does work potentially. So that's a shame. I can't be sure that that's not a crust. However, let's look at it maybe from the other side. If one of these is a crust, because of the 0 in the column, one of those is a crust to go with it. Here's why that doesn't work. Here's why neither of these pairs is a 1-9 pair. This is lovely, actually, because what would you do with the other 0 column in columns 7 and 8? If you were to put a 1-9 there, you'd still need another 1 or 9 in box 7. But only in box 3 up here, sorry, but only one of them. So in a way, you'd have to have a crust there and a crust there, but that would absolutely wreck these. Oh no, it wouldn't wreck them because they're X-sum clues. It would wreck this sandwich clue over here, this 22. So that's not possible. So neither of those dominoes occur because then you can't fit the other crusts in. So these are both green cells, and now we can put in the 1-9 crusts here. And now we can do all of that work I was just suggesting. These add up to 22 for the sandwich, plus those is 32. These now add up to 13. And they have not completed the 21 for the X sum, so we're going to have to add that in, and it's going to have to be a 1 to avoid going bust, in my blackjack terminology. So we're up to 14, and then we're going to have 7 in either 1 or 2 cells. And this is therefore 5 or 6, because that's how far we're counting in the row. And these add up to 13 definitely. Can I really not do more than this? Okay, I've got that 9. One of these is the other red in the column. The rest go green. And now this 25 row, which needs 4 sandwich clues, goes green there. This 22 row goes green there. One of these is a sandwich. One of these is a sandwich. Now, the one that is a sandwich here has another one to make the 0 sum, and the same is true there. Yeah, okay, but that means that's green because the 2 sandwich cells in this column are in the same, in these 2 columns are both in box 1. So that's now red and is a 1. Now by Sudoku, red 1 there, we need a red 1 in these cells, that's got to be here. The 9 in this row now can't be here, these are all green because we've got the 2 reds in their box. That is the red 9. The sandwich total of those is 24. That means these 3 add up to 11, and they must include a 2 now. It's either 2, 4, 5 or 2, 3, 6. Now, those are both green because we've got the 1 and 9 in the central box, and this is the only place left for a red in row 5. That is a 9. I could have done that ever since I made those green, but I've done it now. Now, we've got this 32 total, which is going to have, if there were 5 cells adding to 32, they would need the 9 amongst them because 8, 7, 6, 5, 1 only adds up to 27, so that's not a 5. If it was 6, then 45 minus 32, these add up to 13. And if it's 7, these 2 add up to 13 and would have to be 5 and 8. I haven't done anything with that 3, 4, 5, 6 quad yet. Oh, these, I know there's some, it's 14. That's not very helpful. Still haven't done anything with this column. Right, how about this 10? That can't be a 4 anymore. If that is a 3, these two add up to 7. If that's a 2, this is an 8. Don't know about that. We've got 25 is giving us 1 red in one of those cells, 1 red in one of those. Now again, in these columns, reds are next to each other, so I don't know what that proves, but we have 19 in this row. Now, that means, now I was going to say, I don't know, I was going to say that it's probably going to be 1 red over there and 1 red over there and a sandwich sum of 19 including those cells, but that's not necessarily true. You could have the crusts there and there, or there and there. Okay, how about this 24 row? I don't think that's doing anything for me at the moment either. These clues are starting to get a little hard to use, if I'm honest. Sort of sucked most of the juice out of them at this point. If that was a 6, these have to add up to 13 without using 1, 6 or 9. I think there are ways that can occur. That's not difficult. We've got a sandwich sum of 22 in this row, which is at least 4 cells. The sandwich sum in this row is 25. Is there a way that has to be 5 cells? If it was 4 cells, it would have to be 8, 7, 6, 4. That would become a 3. That would end up having to be a 2 or a 5, sort of by elimination. That's not quite enough. We've got a sandwich clue of 19 in this row. Oh, well, that's 3 cells. So the middle one has gone green now because we need at least 3 from one side or the other. That's going to fix where the bottom crust is in the central column. It's there. That fixes where the top crust is. Those 2 cells add up to 12, either 8, 4 or 5, 7. Now, we get crusts in rows without sandwich clues. That's unfortunate, let's call it that. This row has an X sum clue, which doesn't feel all that helpful if I'm absolutely brutal. If this was a 6, those would add up to 24, those would add up to 21. They would have to include a 9 because they couldn't be 6, 7, 8. That much I can see, and it doesn't really do anything. That pair adds up to 12. 2, 3 and 6 have to appear in these cells somewhere. It's still the case that these 3 add up to 13. These 3 add up to 11. This wasn't, I thought that was a breakthrough, and it really wasn't. Right, that red cell means that both of these dominoes can't have reds. And that means, what does that mean? It doesn't mean that both of these can't be red, because that could still be red. That's unfortunate. Okay. How do we make progression at this point? The outies in this row add up to 13, and they include those cells. The outies in this row add up to 10, and they include these 2 cells. If they only included those 2 cells, this would be 6 or 7, and that would be a pair. And whilst interesting, I don't think that's getting anything done. So these are 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I could write 2, 7 and 8 into the remaining cells in the column. That's only of interest really in this row where it's of very limited interest. The outies in this row add up to 16. I don't know how to get something out of that. This is demono all over. There's some clever stuff going on here that I have yet to find. I mean, this is not going to be very helpful, but it's something. The 3 or 4 here cannot go with a 9 in one of these cells, or this X sum total of 12 is going to be exceeded. So the crust digit here is a 1. 3 plus 9 is 12, but there must be another digit. The crust digit over this side is a 9. I don't know what that proves. Nothing useful, frankly. Or maybe, okay, if there is a 1 there, well, now there is a 1 there. So if that's a 3, this is a 3, 1, 8 set. And the outies add up to 10. Outies would be 7 over here. Could be 1 cell or could be 2. That doesn't resolve that. If that's a 4 and there's a 1 in the sum, it's 4, 1, 2, 5. And again, the outies add up to 10, but that's a 4. It would have to be a single 6 then. That would have to be a single 7. The outies in this column would be those two adding up to 13. They would be an 8 and a 5. I feel like there's something there around that 12 clue. Let's have a look at this one again. If that's a 6, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 7 and 8 are here. And they're in the 22 sum. These would have to add to 7. I don't know what that proves. This digit is part of 2, 3, 6 and must be in one of those. So it's in one of those. That's not interesting. Okay, if this is a 2, that's an 8. If it's a 3, these two add up to 7 without being 3, 4. I was going to say and not being 1, 6, but I don't know that for sure. Gosh, I'm sorry, I'm struggling a bit now. Oh, yeah, no, okay. I was looking at the 24 in this row and going, that doesn't work as a sandwich clue, but it's not. It's an X sums clue. If that was 6, this would have to be a 1. Because a 9 would... not sure, actually. Yeah, no, a 9 would break it. If it was a 6 and a 9, these 4 would have to add up to 9. So if that's a 6, that's definitely a 1. If it's not a 6, this is a 6. And then this is a 7, 8 pair in that situation. And these two have to add up to 11, so they don't have a 7 and 8 for definite. Is that interesting? I don't think it is. 8 and 7 are in this sandwich. No, I don't know what I'm getting out of that. Ah, my goodness. There must be something I can do, because it's a demono puzzle. Greater than 0. That is a useless clue now. It's done its job. This one is either a 2 with a... Now, can this be a 1? That would be a 9. This would be a 1. The 1 there would go with a 9 over this side. Can that be a 9? This would be a 1. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how to make anything out of the specific disposition of the 9s and 1s. I don't think that's very helpful. Right, if that was a 3. Oh, that's very interesting. There's no way for this to be a 3 because there's a 1 or a 9 there. If the crust digit here was a 9, I'm looking at this 15 X sums clue, you'd need 3, 3, 9. You can't repeat the 3. If it was a 1, you'd need 3, 1, 11. And you're not allowed an 11, so that's not a 3. So that's a 4, 5, 6 triple, and this is a 3. And this group is 3 plus 1 plus something equals 12. So that is now a 1-8 pair. Now, the crusts in this row, sorry, the outies in this row add up to 10. So 8 is not one of them. So that is not an outie, that is a crust. This is the 8 and is in the sandwich. Now, this goes with a 9 in one of those positions, a crust, and these two are green. That is now the crust in the column. This isn't, these are all green. And one of those is a crust. So in this row, we've got the 22 sandwich, which is at least 4 cells. So that one goes green. Yes. That's red with a crust in one of those cells. No crust there. Now this can't be a crust and it can't be a 9. And the 9 goes here. Oh, it's brilliant. And one of these two is a 1 and is red. And these are green. Now, these add up to, what were the outies in this row? They were adding up to 10. So these two add up to 7, and they're not 3, 4, or 1, 6. They are 2, 5. This is a 4, 6, 7 triple, and that's going to make this sandwich add up to 25 quite correctly. The columnar sandwiches are all done. Once I make those add up to 12. The row sandwiches, these add up to 11. Oh, we've got a 19 sandwich in this row. Well, if that wasn't a crust, how are you going to get 19 as a sandwich into those two cells? You're not. So that is a crust. What does that mean? I don't know, actually, where the other crust is in this row, but I know that is now part of the sandwich, which is either 3 or 4 cells. So that is green. We've got a sandwich sum of 19. What digits are possible here? Not 9, 4, 6 or 7, and in these two not 1. So these are from 2, 3, 5, 8. Can the sandwich still be 3 cells? Yes. 8, 5, oh look, 8 is sitting in this box, so that's a 2, 7 pair. This is 8 in the corner. The rest of this box is 4, 5, 6. I still think we can do 19 in 3 cells with 8, 5, 6. Just. I thought we were really getting somewhere last time. Now, we've got these sandwiches as X-sum clues. Still think that's going to end up being the 6 for 21, but I don't have that actual proof. If that was a 6 for 24, these 3 add up to 21, and they must include a 9. That would have to be there. That's quite interesting, because that would put a 1 there, a 9 there. This would have to be where the 1 went in this box. And the sandwich sum would be reduced to 3 cells there and would be a 5, 8, 6 pair. But I don't know how to make that work. So I don't know how to eliminate it down to 1 possibility is what I'm trying to say. Oh, we've got, I don't know, have we got anything else? We've got that equals 22, these equal 13. That just doesn't seem very interesting, I'm afraid. X sum up here of 15, if that was a 9, this is now 4 or 5. It's impossible for this to be a 9. That's quite interesting, although I don't think it's going to get anything else done. But if that was a 9, this was at least a 4. And those 3 digits would have to add up, those 4 digits would have to add up to at least 16. So that's a 1, that's a 9. Now, it doesn't help us place the other digits up here. It's still true. And these 3 have to add up to 13 as the outies in this row. But there's various ways. If it was a 4, these would add up to 9. They could be 3, 6 or 2, 7. If that was a 5, these add up to 8 and could be 2, 6. can't see how that gets resolved. Oh, this can't be an 8, so that can't be a 4 because these two add up to 12. Still got 2, 3 and 6 to place in this group. I feel like I'm inching closer to a solution here, but I'm not there. Oh, we've got this 32. It hasn't really changed with that being 2 or 5, I'm afraid. Nothing really has got affected there. Okay, so if this is a 4-cell sandwich, I don't know what to do with that. Either this is 5, 8, 6. I feel like I'm one clue short of being able to understand the puzzle at the moment. Oh goodness, right. Okay, if this was a 5, that doesn't work anymore as the X sum clue, does it? Because that would have to be 1, 2, 3 or 4, and that is no longer possible. So that is now a 4. That's only just happened since I took 4 out of that cell because of that 8. That's interesting. So 4 plus 1 is 5. These other two cells add up to 10. They're not 9, 1 or 4, 6. They're either 2, 8 in a specific order or 3, 7 in either order. Don't tell me that's not going to help. This is now 24. How could that be a 9? If this was a 5, these would have to add up to 10, but there's no 1 possibility amongst them, and they couldn't be 2, 3, 5. That can never be a 9, because if that's a 6, these add up to 24, and that would make these 4 add up to 9. It's not possible. So this is never 9. This is 1. This is 9, and now this cell sees both a 9 and a 1 and goes green, and this is the place for the other red cell in the box and is a 1. That one goes green, this one is a red 1, and this trio does have to add to 19, and that maximizes them. A 5, 8 pair there and a 6 here. This has to be 2 or 3 in its row, and that's a pair looking into the corner and making it a 7. This is now a 3, 4, 7 triple. That has to be 6. This is 8. That 6 is the X sum clue. Not quite the one I wanted. These 3 now add up to 13, not using 1, 6 or 9. So they could be 2, 3, 8 or 2, 4, 7 or 3, 4. No, they can't be 3, 4, 6. I don't think you can do these without a 2, and that's quite significant. If you did, you would be using 3, 4, 6, and we're not allowed to use 6. So there is a 2 in that group. Wow, that's going to be big, because that sorts out 2 in row 8 and 2 in row 6 as well, I think. And these outies, we knew what they were adding up to, 11. Oh, that's not what I wanted. So these add up to 9. And they're either 3, 6 or 4, 5. And it is in one order or the other. And now in this column, 8 is in this group of cells, and it must be 2, 3, 8. They're the outies of the 32 X sum, adding up to 13, yes. Just checking my maths. So now I can fill in 4 and 7 there. This must be a 5 to make these outies add up to 11. And we're in a bit of business. This is 3 or 7 by Sudoku. These, I bet these are still 8, 7 now. Can I do any more with making these add up to 13, isn't it? And I've got the X sum thing going on as well. I don't know. How about this pair? Right, that can't be a 2. So this X sum is 3, 6, 1. There we go. That's good. That's a 2. Now there's a 1 to place in row 1. There it is. There's a 9. Well, now I can green that cell. Oh, that's weird. I thought I'd be able... Yes, these are both green because 1 9 are done in the column, but I can't do the last 2 9s. I've got this 24x sum and this 21x sum. If 24 was 6 cells, a 6 there, then these would add up to 21 without a 6 and without a 9. They would have to be 8, 7, 4. Oh, that is all too alarmingly possible. Yeah, there is a 9 in one of those cells. That's just Sudoku. Well, it's sandwich Sudoku now. So if that was a 5, 5 plus 9 plus 1 is 15. The other 2 cells here would add up to 9. Ah, that's all too possible. Oh, bother, I'm still not done. Right, 8 is in one of those 2. These are from 3, 6, 7. These are 3, 6, 7, 8, aren't they? Now that 2 is putting 2 in one of these cells and 2 in one of these. This column is done. This column is done. This 15 sum. Ah, 4 plus 1 is 5. These two add up to 10. Ooh. We've still got a 6 to place in this row, and only one place to put it according to the pencil marks. That's quite surprising. That's going to put 6 in one of these 2 cells along with 9 in the other one, isn't it? One of these has to be a 9. Yeah, that's a 6, 9 pair. One of these is now a 6 in the central column. Actually, this is 2, 3 and 6. That's a 4, 5, 7, 8 quad. That's just bizarre. Okay, 2, 3, 6 are a triple here. 9, 2, 3, 1, 6. So, since we know that that pair adds up to 12, either 5, 7 or 4, 8, we know the same about that pair and about that pair, and therefore about that pair and that pair. All of these dominoes add up to 12. And therefore, this is a 4, 7, 5, 8 triple, and that must be a 3. Isn't that peculiar? What a clever puzzle. Now, the outies in this row, we know what they were adding up to, and I've forgotten that. Well, let's do it with the sandwich. That's 9. These two add up to 13 more, and they can't be 6, 7, or 9, 4. They are 5, 8. That is now not 5. This pair that adds up to 12, I still don't know what it is, but that's not a 2. Okay. And that's now a 2. And that's a 7. And that's now a 3 in the corner. That's 3 in the corner. That's 3 in the spot. Light. Proving its position. Okay, 5, 8, 3, 1, 6, 9. 2, 4, 7 are the remaining digits to place in the box. 11, 12, 15. That's done. The sandwich of 22 is done. This is a sandwich of 22, so those add up to 13. This doesn't feel done yet. That can't be a 2. This can't be a 3. Can't be a 6 either, because there's a 2, 3, 6 set there. These add up to 12, so that's 4 or 5. I'd forgotten that. These also add up to 12. Is that any? It might be some use. No, it's not. No, it's not. This being 24 and this being 21, these are the, oh, I was going to say, now this can't be 21 because that can't be 7, 8. But it can be 7, 8. Probably is 7, 8. If this was 21, we'd have a 5 and a 1 is 6. These would have to add up to 15. Very doable. That's my conclusion there. Not helpful one, we're not finished. I can see that we might finish now, and I haven't always seen that throughout this puzzle. There's no sandwich clue in this row. We've done, well, we haven't done this sandwich clue yet. We've done all the others, I think. All the others in the puzzle? Yeah, basically yes, we have done all the others in the puzzle as long as we keep that as a domino adding to 12. Which makes that a domino adding to 12, and that, and that, and that. Goodness. Okay, these ones, what did we say they added up to? I keep forgetting. 13 is the sum. Oh, and that's contributing to the 21 x sum. 13 is the sum of the outies from the sandwich in this row. But then we have to get to a total of 8 after that. Well, this can't be a 6 because it would be adding 1 and 6. So we must be adding this cell to get to a total of 8 here, and this is a 6. Oh, it's that straightforward. Right, this is now 6, 5, 4, 2, 3, 1. And this is a 7, 8 pair, and I can fill them in. This is a 3, 6 pair that are resolved by the 6 in column 3. Oops, that wasn't what I was trying to do. 6 there, 3 and 4 here. That's going to place my 4 in box 1 there. Now, 5 is looking across there. I don't know how long that's been available for. It might be an annoyingly long time. Columns 1, 2, and 3 are done. This pair adds to 12, so that's 7 or 8. Now, we've got this 5 in this row, adding to 24. Oh, well, we must know what they are. 5, 3, 9, 6, 1. I mean, I assume that does the job. Yes, it does. It's the right sum. So that is 3 or 9. That is 3 or 6. The 2, that's not a 2. So in this box we've got, or in this row, 3, 1, 5, 4, 7. These are from 2, 6, 9. Oh, I feel like this is done and I don't know how. That is a pair that adds to 7. For the outies. So that pair adds to 7 as well. Now that means that, I don't know, that's 3, 6 or 8. Right, let's try this column. 9, 1. I mean, I don't know. I'm being reduced to pencil marking like a mad thing. I mean, not one of my unfavourite hobbies. But, oh, I'm just missing something madly here. Those add to 7. These and these and these all add to 12. And these and these. And these and these. It must be absolutely plain as a pikestaff what one does here, and I don't know what it is. I've done all of my X sum clues. Yes, yes, yes. I've done all the X sum clues. I think, subject to these 12 dominoes and this 7 domino, I've done all the sandwich clues. So I'm just missing some utterly basic Sudoku at this point. That can't be a 6, I've just noticed from this. That's probably not interesting. We don't have a triple there, I don't believe. Yes, we do. That's a 3, 8, 7 triple. You see, it's that simple. 6 goes there. Now, if that pair adds to 7, this pair now adds to 7. And what does that mean? That means only one of these is 7 or 8. That's not interesting. Oh, look, I've got a 3 looking at that central cell. It's very straightforward. It's very straightforward once you see it and once you know about these dominoes that I've been talking about ad nauseam for the last half hour or so. Right, they're all done. This is done. 3, 8. Let's get rid of 8 from that cell, 3 and 4 from those. That's a 2, 5 pair. I don't know the order, but I do for the 4, 7 pair here. That's going to reflect on the 4-5 pair. That's going to fire back up at the 5-2 pair. That's going to sort out this chocolate teapot quadruple, which were useless until this point. And that is going to allow me to colour my last 2 red cells at the very end. That's very unusual in a puzzle involving sandwiches, to take it right to the end before you know where the crusts sit. And there we go. Brilliant puzzle by Demono, because of his following. 220 people have done that already, and it's a great puzzle. So you may be amongst those who did this before, but I hope you enjoyed watching it done at least, and can at least laugh at how poor I was compared to you at doing it. I've had a great time, so that's been good fun. And I hope to see you again on the channel soon. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.